I never believed in sleep paralysis demons. I'm a rational person, a graduate student studying neuroscience. When my roommate Jake told me about his experiences, I laughed it off as hypnagogic hallucinations. Nothing supernatural, just the brain misfiring during REM sleep. But Jake was terrified. He'd wake up screaming, drenched in sweat, talking about a figure that watched him from the corner. After 3 weeks of this, he moved out. Said he couldn't take it anymore. I thought he was being dramatic. The apartment was cheap, and I needed the space for my research. I took over his room as my study. That's when it started. The first night in that room, I woke up at 3:47 a.m. I know the exact time because I could see my alarm clock, its red numbers burning into my vision. But I couldn't move. Not a finger. Not a toe. My chest felt compressed, like someone was sitting on it. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. Then I saw it. A shadow in the corner, darker than the surrounding darkness. It had a vaguely human shape, but too tall, too thin. It didn't move, just stood there, watching. After what felt like hours, but was probably minutes, I could suddenly breathe again. My body unlocked. I gasped, sitting up, heart hammering. Just a hallucination, I told myself. Classic sleep paralysis. I went back to sleep. The second night, it happened again. Same time, 3:47 a.m. Same paralysis, same crushing weight. But this time the shadow was closer, standing at the foot of my bed. I could feel it staring at me, though it had no eyes that I could see. When the paralysis broke, I noticed something. 3 long scratches on my fitted sheet, like someone had dragged their nails across it. That unnerved me, but I rationalized it. Maybe I'd done it myself in my sleep. Maybe they'd been there before and I hadn't noticed. I decided to approach this scientifically. I set up my laptop on the desk, angled toward the bed, and started recording before I went to sleep. If this was just my brain playing tricks, the camera would show nothing. The third night, I woke up paralyzed again. 3:47 a.m. The shadow was standing right beside the bed now, close enough that if I could move, I could reach out and touch it. The crushing sensation on my chest was worse. I couldn't breathe. My lungs burned. And then I felt it. Something cold trailing across my forearm, like icy fingers. The sensation was so real, so physical. When I could finally move, I grabbed my phone and shone the light on my arm. 3 fresh scratches, thin lines of blood beading up. My hands trembled as I checked the laptop. The red recording light blinked steadily. I'd captured everything. I dragged the cursor to the 3:47 mark and pressed play. At first, I saw myself sleeping peacefully. Then, at exactly 3:47, my body went rigid. I could see my eyes were open, wide with terror, but I wasn't moving. And in the corner of the frame near the door, the shadows seemed to coalesce. It started as nothing, just darkness, but it grew denser, taller. The camera flickered. Static crackled through the speakers. Then the shadow moved. It glided across the room with an unnatural smoothness. No walking motion, just floating. It stopped at the foot of the bed. The camera flickered again, and when the image stabilized, the figure was beside the bed, leaning over me. I watched myself on the screen, eyes bulging, unable to move or scream. The shadow extended what might have been an arm. The video quality degraded into heavy static, but I could still make out shapes. Something dark reaching toward my arm. When the static cleared, I saw 3 red lines appear on my forearm. I slammed the laptop shut, breathing hard. This wasn't a hallucination. This was real. Something was in that room. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I researched everything I could find about sleep paralysis demons, shadow people, dark entities. Most of it was superstitious nonsense, but some stories were eerily similar to mine. Always the same corner. Always watching. Always getting closer. Some people reported that acknowledging the entity made it stronger. Others said you had to confront it. I decided I needed more evidence. If this thing was real, I needed proof. I needed documentation. The 4th night, I set up 2 cameras, one on the desk, one on the dresser, capturing different angles. I also placed a voice recorder on the nightstand. I was going to document everything. I forced myself to sleep in that bed, in that room. I woke at 3:47 a.m. The paralysis was immediate and complete. The shadow was standing directly over me now, leaning down, its face inches from mine. I still couldn't see features, just absolute darkness, but I could feel its breath. Cold. It smelled like earth and rot. The weight on my chest was unbearable. I thought I might die, suffocate. Then I heard it. A whisper, directly into my ear, though the shadow's face hadn't moved. It said my name, my full name. The paralysis broke suddenly, violently. I jerked upward, gasping, and the shadow was gone. I grabbed the voice recorder immediately. My hands shook so badly I could barely work the buttons. I rewound to 347 and listened. At first, just the sound of my breathing, then it stopping as the paralysis hit. Then labored, struggling gasps, and underneath, barely audible, a voice, whispering my name, over and over. I checked the cameras. Both had captured the same thing as the first night, but clearer. The shadow figure was visible on both angles. It was undeniably there. This wasn't a hallucination or a trick of my brain. Whatever this thing was, it was real. It existed in physical space. It could be recorded. I left that apartment the next morning. Didn't even pack everything, just grabbed essentials and left. I tried to warn the landlord, but what could I say? I sent Jake the videos with an apology. He responded with 2 words. I know, I haven't had an episode since leaving, but sometimes, at exactly 3:47 a.m., I wake up, and for just a moment before I'm fully conscious, I feel that cold presence. Standing in the corner, watching, waiting. I don't think it's gone. I think it's just waiting for me to let my guard down. And some nights I swear I